This is a comic review of All American Comics, March 1943. Obviously, America were at war at that point, and number 48 for All American Comics. Now, this obviously included a variety of characters, Green Lantern, of course, and Atom and Dr. Midnite, etc. Though, weirdly, no mention on the cover. Quite a lot of these old issues often would list all the various characters. In this, clearly it's a Green Lantern magazine. This is a Superman DC publication, no less. So then on to the... Now, I assume at this point then, they must have moved on. Oh, it still mentions, Charles MC Gaines. And General Manager Sheldon Mayer. This is published by JR Publishing, they were called. So I love the list of things. And also I love the bit, the fact they've got this good books as well. So you've got a little side bit, good books to go and check out, which I think is quite good. Children of the Sea. You've got the Green Lantern story. Now, quite often, they never mentioned what the title was of the story. You go into this completely oblivious to what the title was. In this case, it's the League of the Three-Eyed Men. And you can only tell by probably slightly bit bolder writing than the rest of the text. The stories are very much the same. I think there's general gangs involved, Nazis involved, fifth colonists, all those sort of things. So you've got a general gist of stories. I think with the Golden Age, quite often there was a lot of repetitive story. You didn't really get that cosmic scale. You didn't get stories, lots of variety, no crossovers, no sort of appearances generally with other characters. So Green Lantern would be sitting in his own universe, other than obviously whenever he went to the Justice Society, etc. So you've got Green Lantern there. They're lovely. And I love the artwork of this period. Now, it's quite often consistent, actually, all the way through. You look through this, and quite often when you look at it, you think, near enough the same artist. Now, I know it isn't, but there was definitely a certain house style that seemed to fit. But I still loved it. Obviously, you've got the Nazis there. Gentlemen, I salute you. And you've got the, obviously, you certainly know what period this is, obviously, with the swastika there. Then you've got, obviously, Green Lantern, of course, with the... Now, in this one, of course, I think it's Wood that he has the problem. Wood is the problem for Alan Scott, not like Yellow, because I've just noticed there's some characters there that he's blasting with his ring, and, of course, they're yellow, so that would be a problematic. So you've got that story. Now, the story is not very long. It's about 13 pages, and then it goes on to Mutt and Jeff. Now, I love those ones when they got the little... very half-page stories in most cases. And this one, Cicero's Cat as well, by Bud Fisher. Now, I don't know if these... I assume that these were reprints from the old comic strips. They just look that style. I don't think they're not the house style of that you look at Green Lantern. Definitely, and the panels are a lot smaller as well. Very tiny panels. So I think they must have been newspaper strips. You've got these lovely ads for... this one's Green Lantern, of course, because Green Lantern comic... And Comic Cavalcade, of course, another Green Lantern as well. Very sensible advertising. Then you've got another Mutt and Jeff, and then Atom. Now, sadly, Atom has not hardly any real archive or anything material for Atom. Don't know if there was a Golden Age archive of Atom. Can't recall one. It's possible. But it's a pity, really. I mean, obviously, Atom featured in the Justice Society of America. So... he did appear there, but it's not a vast amount of material about him. So it's nice when you get a comic like this with a story. Now, the story is a very basic story, obviously involving the snooker hall and pool, I suppose. And obviously more violence and thuggery, where it just... because he's got no superpowers. So he just basically bops people. And I think he got superpowers later. So that was... I don't know when he got superpowers, but I think he got super strength at some point. Now, you've got here Babe Ruth. Candy, energy for victory. US bombers possess, etc. Hop Harrigan, you got this. Now, I don't know whether this was a story part of whether it was licensed or something, because it seems to be a radio show involved there. I don't know. I don't know anything about Hop Harrigan. That story is a standard sort of story, obviously going out, bombing various people. And obviously it's a war. It's only about 6 pages, a very short story. And it says here, how badly is... Don't miss a single issue of All American Comics. And there's also, of course, got a little advert there for buying war bonds and stamps, which is very good. Wonder Woman, you also got a free autographed copy from Wonder Woman, picture of Wonder Woman, which is very nice. As well as, again, Hop Harrigan here. We've got various radio channels now, or stations, I should say. Now, I don't know any of these, and whether some of these probably still exist now. I have no idea, not being in the States. And you've got a little bit there, middle pages, got a big, boys and girls, have you joined the All-American Observation Corps? So then on to the next one. Now, this is Dr. Midnite. Now, Dr. Midnite, again, the artwork's great. Very similar artwork. This one's drawn by Stan Josephs. But as well, he can see in the dark. Super useful, because quite a lot of this story is very dark. A lot of black ink. So you got, so you look at it, obviously a lot of the characters you got, so that's the general gist of the Dr. Midnite stories. But still, he has the same problem, gets bopped on the head. I always wonder why these characters never had sort of nice helmets on so they wouldn't get so easily knocked out. But they often get knocked out. Generally, of course, Green Lantern always suffered with wood, of course. So that was his various problems he had. And he would always get knocked on the head, knocked unconscious at inopportune moments. Likewise, obviously, Dr. Midnite. But then it all resolves, as usual, at the end. But again, just great artwork. I love the stories. Just love the artwork in these. The panels as well. I love the round panels. They'd used round panels a lot. I don't know, now, of course, it's more certain differently. Don't see many round panels. Round panel again, round panel again, round panel again. And also the construction is just slightly odd. But it's basically 9 panels per page, but with circular panels. Another bit as well, got the stamps, which is great. They always seem to have a lot of adverts for stamps, very popular, as well as articles. Who discovered America? Stamp page. And also a story. So you've got a story here. And this one is by Evelyn Gaines. So I assume, but obviously Bill Gaines and Charles Gaines as well. So pictures, stories from the Bible, of course, that's the one from that starts with EC Comics. So picture stories from the Bible. I've seen issues of that over the years. I don't know if these are original issues that I've seen. MC Gaines Publisher. Then the next one is Scribbly and the Red Tornado by Sheldon Mayer. Now this is slightly different. The artwork is great in this. Again, quite amazing actually. Just a bit here, but again, of course, 1943, quite half expected. There's obviously swastikas and, of course, Heil Hitler, etc. in there as well, which is victory slogans as well. Very unusual. Great little story. Those scribbly ones, again, sadly, have never been particularly reprinted. I would wish they were, but obviously not. Mutt and Jeff by Bud Fisher. This is a bi-monthly. Oh, you got so I don't know if they were strips or whether that was actually, because these really don't look like. No, this one here looks like a proper comic, whereas the earlier ones did look like newspaper strips. But I'm not certain. Again, another one, Mutt and Jeff, and then you've got Sargon the Sorcerer. Now, sort of the Zatanna kind of character, but really, when you look at this, it's like Dr. Fate, lots of things. There's hardly any, it's like he flies. He's got a bit of flying here and he does various magic tricks. But there's nothing particularly like you would have in the Zatanna or anything like nowadays with magic comics, the Dark Justice League of America kind of thing. Nothing like that at all. You've got, see, Japanese being hot lead blasts into the leading Jap plane. Then you've got the next story, which is a great picture, then of, obviously, Adolf being obviously burnt by the red, white and blue. Again, very, very dark. And then all the way through to the final page with an advert for All Star Comics, as well as for All Flash there, and Wonder Woman. And another advert for radio technicians, I expect. There seem to be lots of jobs for radio technicians. And also, I love the back page as well. Got great adverts there. Obviously, again, American Seeds for Victory Gardens. Get your prize this easy way, and you've got all the various things. Victory watch and fob, chemistry sets, victory, quite a lot of victory things there. Full-size toilet and manicure set. Take Me Along Girls overnight case. Wristwatches, basketball set, etc. And a Gene Autry guitar. Ooh, So you can get one given for selling only one order plus $3 extra. So there it is. All American. I love these old Golden Age comics. They're absolutely fascinating and thoroughly, totally recommended.